Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Popcorn and Coffee Table Talk. I'm your host, Jesse. I'm going to change things up a little bit. In the booth, we have Colin. How are you?
Doing good.
Sitting to my right, as always. Jay, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
You like that little? I like to add a little.
It threw me off for a second.
It's a curveball,
So,
but it didn't really curve.
kind of like, what do I do now?
Anyways, right off the top, we're going to hit it hot and heavy because everybody's talking about it. Wolverine back in the MCU.
Gosh. Why? Why Marvel?
Can't cast anybody better, so let's get him back.
Why not? Correct. Well, and okay, so
Taron Egerton.
let's still... The one thing that needs to be addressed
Still
before
got Prime
anything...
View. Take it.
Well, we can get into that. But the one thing that needs to be addressed before anything is Ryan Reynolds is kind of a master marketer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even go back all the way to the first Deadpool movie when he didn't leak that test screen footage online and everybody loved it and the movie literally got made because of that. Do you remember that footage?
No.
Do you?
It was just like one little scene with him in costume, wasn't it?
It was bad graphics. And it was just the concept, like the beginning of that movie is him like fighting guys in a car and he's fighting them and he's being his Ryan Reynolds self. So I might have been hand-drawn animation even. I don't even think it was.
Oh, okay.
And that got released and everyone's like, if this movie doesn't get made, we're going to riot like it's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Back whatever year that was. It was like 2016. I think it came out. I don't remember. And now he's doing this and he's going out outside of D23 on his own, just like, okay, well, I'm going to put this information out there. I'm sure he got approval, like it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
It's going to be crazy to see Huey back.
Huey Lewis. What, you don't like it?
I'm indifferent to it. I've never seen the other two Deadpool movies, so I doubt I'll go and watch this one.
Even though this one's part of the MCU?
Oh, well.
It'll definitely be cleaner than the other two. Maybe not. Probably not. I redact that.
Cleaner as in it won't have the F word in it? Or it can have the F word because they changed it because, it can have the F word twice in it and it still be rated PG-13?
I think it's once.
Once. Okay.
I think you're allowed one to fly.
I think it's still going to be, I think if I remember reading the article correctly, Marvel's still going to allow it to be rated R. So it's going to be one that sits outside of your normal MCU canon, but still connected to the universe. It'll probably just have a lot less of its sexual references, if I had to guess. I bet they're just going to let it do whatever it wants. The other two Deadpool movies are on Disney+. So
Are they? I haven't seen them on there.
yeah, those and Logan are both on there.
I saw Logan on there.
So why would they not just let them do whatever they want to do?
I mean, at this point, yeah, Disney's got no morals. So.
Oh, no, we've known that for a long time.
Show the kids all the blood and guts.
Again, though, there is no one better to play that role.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Ryan Reynolds is great as Deadpool. I've never even seen the other movies.
I was talking about Hugh Jackman, but yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Both of them for sure.
They seem to play off each other well because I think they've done either videos or ads or something together.
They do that kind of stuff all the time.
Don't they have this bit like where they act in the movie years ago together and they play a bit like where they act like they don't know each other when they're in public?
No, that's Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi from Green Lantern.
That's right. Yes.
But Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman do have this ongoing like web feud where they just hate each other, but they don't hate each other.
Yeah.
Anyways, more power to you guys. Two theories though. One theory is he's in the movie as Wolverine in the MCU, mutants, all that, and they just go on this like buddy cop style movie. The other theory that is floating around, and it's not even like maybe it's this, like it's a step above that where people think it could actually be a thing, is Deadpool comes across Hugh Jackman like real world, and he kidnaps him and takes him with him thinking he's the Wolverine, and the whole movie Hugh Jackman's just trying to tell him that I'm not actually the Wolverine.
I actually would like that better. Only because Logan ended so perfectly for them to bring that character back as it just...
That being said, Hugh Jackman can't do it for another 10 years.
No.
He's far too old now. He just can't. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't. So you still have to find someone to replace him.
Yeah. Taron Egerton.
I'm fine with that. Sure. We've talked this to death at this point. I'm fine with that. That or you let... Oh, he's too old now too. Sean Astin in his prime.
Play Wolverine?
Yeah.
No.
You let that boy get six-pack abs?
No.
Yeah. Bob?
I mean, maybe like when he was in 50 First Dates, that stage of his life, he could have done
Yes,
it.
that's what I mean. Yes. But just a little bit more ripped.
Yeah.
Wolverine in the comics is short though. Like,
Yeah.
a huge theme from the comics is other people just pick him up and throw him into the enemy.
Yeah, he's like 5'4" or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
More like a
Wolverine.
Yeah, they're not big animals.
No, they're just gnarly.
Yeah.
Did you see, I shared it on Instagram the other day, but did you see the poster for the Planet of the Apes?
I don't think I saw that.
No? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes coming out.
And now, is this one supposed to take place when those astronauts come back to Earth? Or
I don't know. We know nothing. All they did was release a photo.
Okay.
I sure hope so, though.
That would be great.
I hope that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a soft reboot of the original.
Mm-hmm.
Because we already know that Challenger's in space
Right.
off of Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And this takes place post,
Lake Placid?
post that giant alligator, Caesar dying. You know what I'm talking about? Caesar died in War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
But I love this franchise. I really do. Those 3 movies are great. I like all the Planet of the Apes movies,
they're
but
good.
I got real excited when I saw that one.
Yeah.
They've already cast and everything. You can go on and see the people who are in it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't recognize anybody except one of the guys who's from like the It movies, I think. I don't remember.
I would like to see Paul Rudd in the Planet of the Apes movies. Either as an ape or just as a human. Maybe the astronaut.
You want Paul Rudd to replace Charlton Heston?
I want Paul Rudd to replace Charlton Heston.
That's actually not a bad cast. It's a bad cast. It's a bad cast because
You're just the
you
king
would
of
just see Paul
immediately
Rudd.
walking it
Well,
back.
you see Paul Rudd in everything.
But that's what I'm saying. Every role he plays, he's Paul Rudd.
Okay, well, Charlton Heston wasn't no fantastic actor. He was hailed as one, but...
I mean, he was for the time.
Yeah.
He had Ben-Hur. He had the 10 Commandments playing Moses. And then he had this playing Human Number 1, whatever the guy's name was. I don't remember.
I still want Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd would be good.
He'd be good in everything and anything.
Not anything, but everything.
Why don't you just let Ryan Reynolds do it then? It's the same thing.
I could see Ryan Reynolds doing it.
I could too, actually,
Yeah.
after I said it out loud.
Paul Rudd and Ryan Reynolds.
You know who I really wanted to do it, even though he's been in either Jason Clarke would have been great, but
Yeah.
he was in Dawn,
Yeah.
or Gary Oldman, who was also in Dawn.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 that I really wanted. They didn't even have a date or anything on that, so
No.
it's pretty far away, but that's really
So we're probably
exciting.
looking at 2024, 2025.
Probably. That's a good franchise, though. I was trying to remember that other thing. This is kind of not even... This is off the beaten path. Not the Gyllenhaal one, but the other one. What was the other bit of news you had in the text?
Not the Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, not the Gyllenhaal bit of news, but the other one.
Tom Clancy's...
Oh, yeah, that's
Jack
what it
Ryan.
was. Yeah, that's what it was.
What about John Krasinski playing the astronaut?
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
That'd be
Segue
good.
That was good. That was good.
That was a bad high
Jack
five.
Reacher, season 3.
Season 3. Jack Reacher coming out in December. I think right like a few days before Christmas.
Can we pause here and comment on how liberal we know Jeff Bezos is and Amazon is?
Yeah.
But they're really making all of their money, entertainment-wise, off very conservative shows. You have the Jack Reacher show, you have the Jack Ryan show, and you had the Chris Pratt Terminalist, which are all like war-eccentric, hero status, soldiers. That's all very conservative stuff. So
Well, maybe Jeff Bezos likes war.
he likes space.
He's going to start paying. He's going to pay for the next war, actually, where the government takes over the American people. That's
that
going to be
one.
funded by Bezos.
I thought you were talking about Russia.
Oh, no. Russia? Psh, please.
On the pod? You're going to call out Putin like that on the pod.
Okay.
I can't handle
Hey,
Ukraine.
look, if Putin wants to come on this show,
Right behind Sigourney?
right behind Sigourney.
Honestly,
It's a long line behind Sigourney right now.
he can come on before Sigourney.
I would have to at least throw a vote of veto out there. No one's on before Sigourney.
With Sigourney's approval?
Has to at least get approved by her.
I think we could get Sigourney to be okay with this.
She's like, what pod is it? I don't care. Sigourney's people, though, if you're out there watching, please. I would die if somebody called me and was like, hey, Sigourney wants to be interviewed by you. I'd be like, cool, I'm down. This is the stupidest bit that's been a through line since the beginning, and I love it, but it's dumb. It's so funny.
Where do we go from here?
Don't even know how we got there. More recastings, though.
Yeah, Marvel's reportedly wants Harrison Ford to play Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, after William Hurt's unfortunate passing. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it.
Really?
No, not Ford. I think they could get somebody else. I think they should find somebody a little bit younger. Because, I mean, Ford's what, in his late 70s?
I mean, William Hurt was pretty old, too, though.
Yeah, but William Hurt didn't fly around airplanes and crash them all the time. So
Very true. Well, if that was the standard, Ford wouldn't have any more roles. I don't care.
It wouldn't bother me. Is it just kind of like an old man curmudgeon type character, canonically, like back to the comics?
Did you watch, like,
So I remember from the Hulk movie, but
yeah.
prior to that, like in its origins or anything like that, is that kind of how that character is?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He's just a
old dude.
A general who hates the Hulk. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
yeah.
But he starts the Thunderbolts, and the Thunderbolts movie's already been announced. It's already coming out. And they don't have anybody to play that character anymore because of his passing. They could easily, I don't know why you would replace him at all, just write his character out of the story. Just make it the Thunderbolts start up because of his death. Like, just make him die in universe and let his death be what creates the team or something. I don't know why you feel the need to replace the character.
I mean, you could easily, with the multiverse now, you can do whatever you want. He could be from a different universe. Harrison Ford could be.
And that's such a lazy thing to do, though.
Yeah, but that's...
I get it. I agree with you. But it's just like, let's just don't. Like, you don't have to. I know you can, but...
Yeah, it's kind of like the backline they can fall on if they have to fix something.
It's like the Chadwick Boseman stuff.
That's what they do in the comic books, though. Like, they have the multiverse, so they can be like, oh, no, this all... Like, I think for a while, like, Doc Otto Octavius was Spider-Man because Spider-Man died, so he took up the mantle of Spider-Man. And we're like, oh, no, this was in the multiverse, so it wasn't in the actual universe.
And they're like, oh, nobody likes this. Never mind. That's fine. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I'm really just tired of anything Marvel at this point.
Wow. That's a bold statement, Con.
Yeah. It is.
Everything?
Just about anything, yeah.
Shang-Chi?
Well, no, I like Shang-Chi.
It's kind of just news-wise.
We're so flooded with it. It's getting borderline unbearable. It really is.
I still haven't watched that last episode of She-Hulk.
Episode 7?
6.
Episode 7's on there.
Oh, okay.
So you're behind. I have. I watched all of them.
Yeah.
I caught up. They're present. They're present and accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing anything. We'll just fill it. We'll just put it in here because the show's not doing anything interesting.
It's not a courtroom drama.
It isn't.
Not a superhero show. It's neither.
It's none of the things. And the last episode 7, she goes to like Blonsky's resort where he's just hanging out with other powered people and they have like group therapy sessions and things. And I'm like, I don't care about any of this.
He's like Wreck-It Ralph and the villains support group.
Plus, on the flip side of things, if you want to get into Jennifer Walters' character as She-Hulk, on the one hand, you're telling us she's incredibly skilled and talented. She's pretty much perfect at everything that she does. She doesn't need anybody's help because she doesn't need a man. And then on the other hand, you're telling us she's struggling with this immense identity crisis. And it's just like, well, you can't have both. You can't have both. So when you're telling me that I just don't care. Unfortunately, I want to care. I just don't. That being said, on to the next bit of news. Marvel. No, for real though. Marvel. The Armor Wars, I read the article, was talking about it switching from a series that was going to go to Disney Plus is now going to be a feature film.
That's good.
Which... That's what it needs to do. And it was nice because Kevin Feige is still doing the same thing he's always been doing for the last 12 years, 15 years, whatever it's been. Where he's like, we looked at the story, we looked at the script, and just felt that it was better suited for a feature film as opposed to a series. I say, great. Thank you. Don Cheadle.
Is it true that I heard rumors that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back as some Iron Man from another universe?
Boo. I don't know.
been seeing stuff on like Instagram all the time.
Really?
Like pictures, like fan made art and stuff of like posters of like the Iron Man and then Tony Stark's face is up above and the like shadow, like kind of like faded away almost in the background.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I think he's done with it though. I don't think he wants to.
Okay.
He seems happy.
I don't know him, so I'm not going to speak for him.
The last time I talked to him, he seemed okay. On Instagram. I saw his face.
Did you ask him how Jake Gyllenhaal's doing?
No.
No?
Are they friends?
Well, I mean, they were in Zodiac together, so I assume they know each other pretty well. And
Good point.
Spider-Man, he tried to kill his stepson.
They were both
adopted son.
Very true. Very true. His stepson. Was there a marriage I was not aware of?
I mean, Marriage of Souls. It was. I mean,
Oh, that's
him and Aunt May had a thing. It was
in the same way that Jake Gyllenhaal and Lady Gaga have a thing?
yes. Apparently, Jake Gyllenhaal or Lady Gaga said to call Jake Gyllenhaal her mommy and daddy.
Who was she talking to?
I don't know who she was talking to. Apparently, there were some pictures of them that came out because they were on a new set together or some movie, and there are rumors. The pictures sparked rumors that they are dating. None of this is been confirmed, I guess, from what I read.
Lady Gaga says a lot of crazy things. Though.
I mean,
She likes to shock jock the media.
yeah.
So that's fine. It probably means absolutely nothing. I recall a time she told the news. Never mind. That happened though.
She told the news that she was in the shallows.
No, that she was a man.
Oh,
You guys don't remember that?
I just
I remember it.
she's got a good
Yeah.
poker face.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Just had to fit him in there.
This article I found very interesting. So that Ana de Armas led Marilyn Monroe movie went to Netflix.
Okay.
Is this a movie or is it a series? I don't remember.
Movie.
It's a movie? Didn't watch it. I really don't care.
I
It's
don't-
NC-17 as well, which is... Whoa. The fact that they just threw that on Netflix blows my mind. Netflix can do whatever they want, though. But it's sparking a lot of outrage from the left because in the show, apparently, Marilyn Monroe in real life had 2 abortions that the movie is portraying as saying were forced upon her by the industry, by people in her life. Hey, this is going to be real bad for your image. Get rid of it. Obviously. I'm sure that happens to a lot of women in the industry. You probably don't listen to it, ladies. But the movie is also portraying it as that she didn't want to do it and she was haunted by it. And even to the point of like her having dreams and these unborn baby fetuses pleading for their lives to not be killed. Literally saying, "You're not going to kill me, are you? Please don't kill me," kind of stuff. That is a very right-leaning perspective to hold on abortion, and nobody on the left is happy with it.
Well, I mean, if it was, I mean, we don't know how it's a biopic, so we don't know how much of it's true, how much of it's made up and stuff.
True.
It's obviously it's for theatrics. Like you said, in the industry, especially at that time, I could see them forcing people being like, "Hey, you need to do this
If you want to keep your job,
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I mean, she was pretty messed up lady, anyways. So
very promiscuous,
yeah,
very much so. But that being said, in the world that we currently live in, that's a bold choice for a movie to make because you know you're going to be ostracized by literally everyone if you make a choice that leans right in any way.
yeah. I'd be curious to. I'd be curious as to what actually was said and what was construed as that by the left, and like, oh, they're saying this, but it actually wasn't. Because both sides do it. I mean, some sides do it with
twisting.
they're like, oh, this has witchcraft in it or something like that, and it's like, well, I didn't see anything in it. Like, what do you? Or there have been movies that people said, like with the good example. I got a good example.
Nice.
The Beauty and the Beast live action. They said Gaston, the right wingers were saying that Gaston, or what's his LeFou was gay, a homosexual. No, he wasn't. I watched the movie. He wasn't gay. He acted the exact same way he did the original film. He admired this manly man, and that was it. So
I completely agree with you. I do. And the even if using that example,
yeah,
even if Disney did say, hey, everybody, this character's gay, and that's the choice that he chose to make, it was so vague
yeah,
that neither side, and that's just Disney trying to play the line because they know they're going to lose a lot of people if they come out and straight up make that character homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody on the left looks at it and goes, that's a gay character. He's just not a very gay character. And everybody on the right, if you're like you, is like, no, like he's obsessed with him because he wants to be him, not be with him. You know what I mean? So
I could see the same thing going back to the Marilyn Monroe movie. I could see the same thing, the left doing like, oh, there was some comments maybe, or maybe that was what, I don't know, maybe she was dealing with some mental stuff and that she was having dreams about that, and then...
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Regardless of the...
I'm probably not going to watch it.
I'm never going to watch it.
Not probably, I'm not going to watch
Definitely not going to watch it. I would recommend, if you are a Bible-believing Christian out there, yeah, probably just don't watch it either. It's probably not redeeming.
No.
That being said, it's America.
Go read a book.
Hey, read the book this movie is based off, because it is based off a book. Did you guys know? Because I didn't. Did you know that Tarzan was public domain?
I had no idea.
Up until January of 2020. We could have made a Tarzan movie, guys. We could have made...
Dang it.
Tarzan swinging through the city. Now we can't because Sony bought the rights to it.
Ooh.
So
That's
they're going to start working on a new Tarzan movie.
We could just reverse the name and make it Nazrat. It could be about a rat that lives out in the jungle.
Nice.
It's a rat, but he's a Nazarene.
What about did you watch the Tarzan movie that came out?
I didn't.
With Skarsgård and
No.
who else was in it? Samuel L. Jackson was in it. Margot Robbie was in it. It was fine. It was whatever. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad.
It just was.
It just was. Isn't that interesting? How so many movies, I was talking to a guy from work, just like come and go and nobody ever talks about them ever again. That's like 90%.
Yeah.
They're talked about until they release. Everybody goes and watches them, like even if it's not a flop.
Right. Yeah.
And then they never get spoke of again. Jurassic World Dominion just came out this year. Came out, made $1 billion. Nobody's talking about it anymore. But then you have movies like your Jaws, like your original Jurassic Park, like your... Name another one.
Back to the Future.
You have movies like this that are so culturally just stamped on everyone that they have legs for generations. It's just incredible to me.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. I'm trying to get away from Spielberg, but our lives have pretty much been... It's all Spielberg for us, but... And Zemeckis, obviously. But then everything else, literally everything else, it's just gone like a vapor, you know? Unless it gets some sort of cult following once it comes out. Like your Fight Clubs or like Blast from the Past. I don't know. Just interesting. Movie stuff. Movie stuff. Put the caption there or whatever. You know.
So Lady Gaga and Jake Gyllenhaal are...
Breaking news. Nothing new.
I'm just going to say, I did forget. I talked about that earlier and was about ready to just say it again. And so then I just made it. So.
Yeah, we covered that already.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bit?
Huh?
That wasn't a bit?
I mean, that was because I remember that I did talk about it, but I had forgotten and I was going to spring it up again.
Oh, he was going to slip it in casually. Are you present?
I'm here. I am physically here.
I'm leaving that in the edit.
We need that sometimes.
We need those moments.
We didn't bring this up before. And again, we missed all the D23 stuff. So there's a lot of movies in here that we could talk about. And maybe we'll sprinkle them in from time to time until these movies come out. But one of them that came out at D23 was this prequel Lion King movie that they're going to make. Live action like the other one, but it's about Mufasa when he was younger and coming up to be king of the Pride Land. So it's called Mufasa, the Lion King. Also, recently announced, James Earl Jones has retired the character of Darth Vader. I'm pretty sure he's retiring this character as well. What do you do with that?
Well, he didn't play Mufasa in the Lion King, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, it's James Earl Jones.
No, I meant like in the live action. Did he play Mufasa?
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
He probably owns the rights to that voice too.
I guarantee it. He does more voice acting than he does real acting.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're fine.
I don't. Could care less that they're doing this. I think this is stupid. It's a money grab. I don't care about Mufasa's past.
Very privileged.
Huh?
He was a very privileged lion.
Oh,
Or was it
I
like
thought you were calling me privileged.
Hard Knocks? There's some stuff there. I mean, him and Scar were fighting for that position for a long time. There's a lot of drama in that past.
I don't care.
Directed by Barry Jenkins? Come on.
Who's Barry Jenkins?
He did it won the Academy Awards the year that they said it's La La Land, but it wasn't La La Land, it was Moonlight. Moon something. Do you know?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
I was going to say Moon Knight, but I was like, that ain't right.
Moon Knight. Whatever it is. Barry Jenkins. He's a good director. It's just I don't remember off the top of my head. Because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Mufasa. We saw some wildebeest at the zoo the other day. And I definitely threw him some shade because it's their fault. We had an opportunity to feed the stingrays.
And they give him a little smack.
And I just said, I hate you.
You're still mad about Steve Irwin?
For the Steve Irwin stuff.
It's been like
yes.
15 years.
I know, but that man was a national treasure.
For Australia?
For the world, mate.
Then why didn't you say a worldwide treasure? You said national.
No. Well, that's true. That being said, feeding a stingray is really, really weird because their mouths are on the bottom of their bodies. Our best bits on YouTube are the ones where we talk about animals. It was creepy.
They feel weird too, though, don't they?
They do. Yeah. And you had to...
Big piece of rubber coming at you, and then
just piece of shrimp. And it was funny because the woman was like, don't let it go too soon. Obviously, don't hold on to it for a long time, but don't hold on to it. Don't let it go too soon. Otherwise, it'll just like the food would float to their backs.
Yeah. And
it would sit in this like water pocket on their backs. And no matter what they did, they couldn't get it out.
So it's like they'd have like an itch. Like, you're
yes.
just like, come on.
Yes, they couldn't get it.
They just create a vortex on their back.
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
Like, oh no, it's on my back.
So, wow, what are we talking about?
Speaking of stingrays, you know who's a great thing?
Okay.
Do you remember the Mr. Ray from Nemo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great stingray, man. He did a great job in that film. Like
Yeah.
I've not seen him in anything else. I think he got typecasted, but
Finding Nemo, what a classic.
Yeah.
There is no good segue here. So we're just going to go. We're going to hard stop. Oops. Hard stop. We collectively, and this is something we're going to start doing from time to time because I think it'll be a lot of fun. We collectively watched Pure Flix's Beckman. And we have thoughts. Colin has a lot of thoughts. I'm excited to get into the dialogue about Beckman. So we have Beckman, which came out in January of 2020, directed by Gabriel Sabloff, and the writers were Tommy Blaze, Stephen Keller, and Gabriel himself, starring David A.R. White, who does almost all Pure Flix movies, William Baldwin, which was very interesting, and Burt Young was in there as well. And then if you scroll down, the only other reference I wanted to make was to the main girl who was in it, which was Brighton Sherbino. She was a little girl in the Walking Dead series.
Yeah, I
For a while.
saw that.
She was crazy.
Yeah.
The character, not the girl.
Yeah.
She did fine in the movie. Yeah, and you want to read the synopsis?
Yeah. So a contract killer becomes the reverend of an LA church until a cult leader and his minions kidnap his adopted daughter. Blinded by vengeance, he cuts a bloody path across the city. The only thing that can stop him now is his newfound faith.
So this is the first time we're doing this. It's a little bit more rough cut. The more that we do it, we'll figure out a concise way we want to package this in the future with whatever movie we watch. But let's go around firstly and just say 1 out of 5 stars. What do you give this?
2.
You give it a 2.
2.5.
I give it a 4. I give it a 4. So this is going to be interesting.
What is a 5 on the scale?
That's impossible.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. I really truly did.
Your enjoyment factor doesn't have anything to do with actually.
It does to some degree. As a package.
What we just did, it absolutely does. Now, if I were to put it out online and compare it to, this is a bigger factor. It depends on what you're comparing it to.
I'm just comparing it to action films in general.
Okay, I would agree. I think this is a perfectly functional B-class action movie, straight to DVD action movie. Obviously, this would have 0 legs in a theater. But I think this holds up with stuff that comes out that goes straight to a red box somewhere. I think it was fine.
I think the choreography for the fight scenes was garbage. I think that some of the dialogue was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's driving in the car, tells the kid to take off his suppressor, then gets inside, and all of a sudden the suppressor's back on his gun again.
Yes.
And why are they running around with guns with suppressors on? Everybody has a gun with the suppressor on it. The handguns, all of them. The Asian dude, Beckman.
There's a lot of silencer action in John Wick.
Okay,
I was gonna say it's a
trope
paste of John Wick.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so much
down to the black phone network with the contract killers all having a hit board.
Absolutely.
That they can take the prices on, see who's on the hit list.
Absolutely.
All of them just being specific skill sets. Some legitimate racism with the Asian characters.
I don't think so. That's a little rough.
He didn't sound like he was putting that accent on naturally. That sounded forced.
It did sound forced.
That sounded like somebody trying to be racist.
He was intentionally replacing L's with R's.
Right. I liked the character that guy was. I just felt like they did him dirty with the racism.
I already knew Colin's thoughts because he texted me while he was watching it.
All I said was this movie sucked. And I pretty much left it there.
I would agree with you. The choreography was clunky.
It was kind of messy.
You could tell, number one, nobody in this movie makes these kind of movies very often. So they're all struggling.
And that's why I didn't rate it too low for the choreography because... it's hard to stand up to John Wick.
They were intentionally making sure their punches landed exactly where they needed to land so that nobody gets hurt, but yet it looks as believable as they can. I would also argue, and this is something that crossed my mind while watching this, you can go overboard with choreography as well. Like Star Wars Episode 3, that lightsaber fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan is so over choreographed that it just looks like they're doing this dance on Dancing with the Stars. You know what I mean? It doesn't look natural.
Kind of meant for,
it doesn't look natural either. Even if that was intentionally, that means they succeeded and he did what that doesn't mean it looks realistic. So
it's a space opera, so
you can go either way with it. I would agree though, it was rough.
I laughed at one scene, actually out loud. I was by myself. I laughed out loud. When the lady is in the basement cutting him and stabs him, and then the girl stabs her in the back, and she screams, and she's just like, ah! It runs up the stairs. It's like, what the heck?
Her acting was terrible.
Yeah, and
specifically her was really bad.
The dialogue was really forced. The two things you said, which I recognize that, and I 100% agree with you. I'm also comparing this to other Pure Flix movies. And I think this is far and above better than most of their stuff.
Yeah.
The cinematography was way better. It looks really good. The gunshots and those things, you could tell that was all cut and paste later.
Were bad.
But
there was one scene where he's like got the AR or whatever kind of rifle that is, and he's shooting down the hall when he's in the house with the 4 guys, and he's shooting and the bullets are coming out. They almost look like it's CGI'd bullets just popping out.
Yeah,
they probably
and it was.
Was it? I didn't know. Okay,
I was going to
ask you,
but it had a $1.2 million budget.
I was going to say, you could tell where they cut the costs, and it was definitely special effects, because you really didn't need a whole lot in that movie.
No, you didn't.
It was just the bullet holes and anything related to the guns for the most part.
They went as gritty as they possibly could, though, knowing this movie was made for a target audience of Christians who watch Pure Flix movies. This wasn't made for anybody else. This is a pretty gritty movie, knowing you're catering to Christian families.
Yeah.
There's that scene where that guy gets that drill right to the eye, and it didn't look realistic.
Yeah, that was rough.
But I was like, ooh,
that did make me cringe.
You chose to put that in your movie. That's a bold move.
That freak is always just get the drill, get the drill, get the drill.
Yeah.
So like the elements of creep, I thought they did really, really, really well with. The cult stuff I thought was decent. That girl was like getting her, like, again, spoilers for this movie. We probably should have said that up front. Again, this is the first time we've done this. I'm just going to say it. Spoilers for 2022's Beckman. Throw that at the beginning or something. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Nobody's watching this movie.
Shut up. People have watched this movie, but...
You want to look at the reviews when he's done explaining his thing? Down at the bottom here.
Did you read them?
I read through a few of them. But read that first review. Or there was one, I was cracking up. It was about David A.R. White, or J.R. White, whatever his name
I thought this was a comedy.
Was it this one?
No. It was within the first couple. I know that.
That's funny.
This movie would have to walk up 300 flights of stairs just to reach rock bottom. That is a bit harsh.
I mean, again, I understand what they're saying, and I don't disagree, but I thought it was an impressive feat for what Pure Flix does. Have you tried rewatching 6?
No, actually, I try to stay away from most Pure Flix films, which I think we should. I would like to start watching some more of them, and then I think we need to set this up within the next couple months and have the great Pure Flix debate. Do we need them?
I would. Okay, I would love to do an agree to disagree with you about this, because I definitely think there's a place where they're needed and necessary. But it's obviously a cut and paste John Wick, and if you're looking at a $250 million John Wick movie or $1 million this, you cannot compare the two. You literally can't. I think it was kind of lazy to pretty much use the exact same story.
That was the part. Like, I don't care that they steal some aesthetic elements or some of the stuff from a bigger budget movie, but to just wholesale take hours of the storyline from that is kind of ridiculous.
And that's a big issue I have with a lot of the Pure Flix films, is they're just rip-offs of Hollywood films, and they just make them Christians. Like, create your own stories. Come up with your own ideas.
I definitely don't disagree with that. And I think that this is passable, but this can't carry your brand. No. And it has, because, again, the people they cater to like their stuff, and they're still in business. David A.R. White makes a living off of making these kind of movies, which is fine. That's great. But you really have to venture out. I don't know if you ever watched this. Reminded me a lot of Faster. In Faster had Dwayne Johnson and Billy Bob Thornton in it. Mm-hmm. And they're these lower budget, hyper violent movies. It's like The Rock gets out of prison and he goes on this kill rampage, hunting down Billy Bob Thornton throughout the movie. But then the end of the movie is just for him to be like, I killed your family, and apologize to him. So he doesn't kill Billy Bob Thornton, but he apologizes for murdering his family. But he just killed like 150 people in the wake to go apologize to him. But the twist at the end of that movie was him just like looking at him in the eyes and saying, I'm sorry for what I did. And then like walking away.
So kind of like Spider-Man 3.
It's basically what this did.
That's what that movie was. And then there was another movie with John Travolta, and I don't remember the other guy's name. He was Russian. And the two of them are master assassins in the woods, and the one guy shows up to the other guy's house, John Travolta's house, and they go on this like hunt for each other in the woods, and it's really, really intense and really cool. And then the end of the movie, when the one guy's going to kill John Travolta, he finally overpowers him and gets to it. He literally does almost the same thing, and it's just this like, I'm trying to correct the wrongs of the past, not continue what I was doing, you know? So he wasn't necessarily trying to kill John Travolta the whole movie. He was trying to stay alive and
be able to speak his reason to him.
Yes.
Without killing him.
And that's the twist. And I think there is a place for these kind of movies. I think the reverend Christian themes, and again, I'm a Christian, so this is hard to say without sounding like super wrong. You can dial back some of that to help aid the story. Not every main character has to be a preacher. Mm-hmm. And the theme of this was mercy. You know what I mean? The theme of this movie was forgiveness. Those are elements you can put in an action movie and it still be a Christian movie. It's clean. There's no language. There's no garbage. The violence is, don't let your kids watch it because it's just not necessary. But there's a place for us mature Christians to have action movies and not have to worry about temptations. You know what I mean? I want to see this with a $5 million budget.
I thought the whole he had to be a preacher thing was extremely overblown to the point where it's not believable. He's this contract killer. Within 1 year is a pastor of this church now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then immediately redacts everything, goes back to just a murderous rampage.
Yes.
And then flips back at the end.
That's why the Bible says that new Christians are not new believers are not supposed to be teachers in the church.
Right. So why couldn't you just make him a new convert?
Exactly.
Leave that pastor character in there as an influence.
Yeah.
Have him speak the words that change him towards the end instead of that scrub kid that just felt like a plot device.
Because they needed him to be the person that the 16-year-old, 17-year-old came to for help, and then he adopted her, and for some reason after a year called her Chipmunk. That's weird.
It all moved too fast.
Yeah.
It's just an unbelievable pace.
There's another thing, I don't want to change the subject, but like how they did the chapters and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what other movie did chapters recently?
Well, John Wick, but what else?
Oh, did it? Okay, I didn't know that.
This is a cut for cut.
I've not seen John Wick, so I don't know.
John Wick, yeah.
Wag the Dog. But,
oh, really?
Yeah, they did like that in the chapter.
Huh. That didn't
I don't
bother
hate
me.
the chapter thing. I think that's fine.
Again, I think it was kind of lazy because it was like chapter 7, Reese. And it was just like, okay, we know he's hunting this guy down. Like, you could have gotten rid of that and then not been important.
Yeah.
It was an aesthetic thing they were trying to create.
Yeah. It almost felt like with the cuts, it could have been a miniseries.
That's why I was.
Stop it at each chapter.
And if they did this after, like, as a series and made the episodes like 45 minutes or 40 minutes and told more story and built more, probably would have been better.
Yeah.
That being said, and we can wrap this up in like final thoughts kind of territory, I thought it was completely fine. I thought it was a completely passable. I don't regret having purchased this movie to have to watch it. You know what I mean? I walked away and I was like, that was entertaining. I was entertained. I was.
It lost me a lot of the time.
I would agree
because I was editing the previous episode during that while watching it.
Yeah.
At the same time, nothing made me just stop what I was doing and be like, okay, this is ripping.
I was doing other things while I was watching it as well, but
I would agree. I mean, there wasn't nothing in the film that I was just like so bored with it that I was like, when is it going to be over? Mm-hmm. So, but I still only give it 2.5 stars.
Yeah, I don't think giving it a 2-star rating and saying that it's a passable movie have to be in different realms. Because it's not a good movie, but it's a passable movie.
And that being said, my 4-star rating is comparing it to other Pure Flix movies, which I outright despise.
Yeah.
I'm not comparing it to
I'm just looking at it purely from
or these other
my experience with movies as a whole.
Yeah, I wasn't comparing it to other Pure Flix films. I was comparing it to other action films.
And you guys are far more likely to enjoy B-class movies than I am anyway. So that kind of shocks me a little bit.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't bother me that it's B-class, but it doesn't, like, some of it is bad enough to where I'm just like, I just don't like it. There's a certain line with B-class to where it's like, it's just so horrible that I love it.
Yeah.
Or it's just good enough that all of the bad makes me not like it.
Right. And I think it depends too on like how serious the characters are taking themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
and how seriously the movie takes itself.
Yeah.
I want to see more of this. I'd like to see Pure Flix head in this direction even more, because nothing would make me happier than to start seeing a subsect of Hollywood, the industry, being led by, conservative Christian directors who are like, okay, some studio is going to give you the money, and I'll use Transformers as a perfect example. Some studio is going to give Gabriel Sabloff, don't know who he is, that's not the point, is going to entrust him with the money to go make a Transformers movie. I think there was a place in society for even us as Christians to say, I really like that Transformers movie, but I would like to be able to go into it knowing I don't have to worry about garbage that they just force into every movie because they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense. It would be cool to see him, even if it's not like a Christian-focused picture.
I don't think it has to be. I really don't.
See what they can do. Show that the Christian directors do have the skill to put up a good movie.
And I know they're out there. I know there's Christians in Hollywood. Most of the time, a Christian in Hollywood has to say that, or not say they're not, but just leave that hidden. If they're a believer in Hollywood, you have to kind of keep that hidden. Otherwise, you are ostracized, so.
One other thing about the acting, I don't think anybody plays Smug quite as well as a Baldwin.
As a Baldwin? Yeah. He sounds just like Alec Baldwin.
I was thinking,
it looked a lot like
when are we going to get Alec Baldwin into one of David A.R. White's films? Because Stevens played with him, and now Bill?
Probably pretty close, because I don't think anywhere in Hollywood's going to work with Alec
He's going
Baldwin.
to have to come to Alex going to
He's going to find faith, and then he's going to be at a Pure Flix movie at some point.
Yeah, just can't put him in these kind of movies.
He's the only one that isn't, I think.
No
movies with guns.
Yeah, no. Courtroom dramas based off your real life experience, Alec. But no, I enjoyed doing this though. I enjoyed the three of us watching a movie, and I was watching it knowing that I was going to have to kind of give answers to what I thought about it here. I think we should do this more often.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, I don't mind reviewing them for sure.
Speaking of bad films, though, that are unnecessary, Halloween Ends comes out October 14th.
It's only 2 weeks away until that.
Are we gonna go see this one?
Dumpster fire rolls out.
Are we planning on? Is this something we're planning on going to watch again, like we did last year? Or are we not gonna even bother with it?
I feel like in a previous episode you had said we were gonna watch it.
I know.
I feel like I would do it just because we all went and watched the one last year, so it's kind of like,
It's something fun to do and relevant to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Not going to be an enjoyable movie by any stretch of the imagination.
I think it will. If we're going to do it, we need to utilize it from a perspective of the necessity for these kind of movies. And I say this segueing into kind of what we've been watching, because, and I've been struggling with this a lot just in my personal life, and the relevancy that horror movies play in society. Are they necessary? Are they not? Are they detrimental to society as a whole? Are they not? Where do they fit, and what is the need for these type of movies in society? And as a believer, you have to say there is none.
Yeah. Right.
You can't look at Halloween Ends and say, no, yeah, I gleaned something from that and I care. Especially slasher movies. Even if you don't want to say horror movies aren't necessary, slasher movies for sure aren't necessary.
Right.
Because they're just digging into all the depravity of man. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it, because somebody has to watch it.
Well, no. If we're saying that horror movies like this are unnecessary, we just be like, hey.
But at the same time, if I want to say that, I need to have grounds to stand on to explain why. You know what I mean? Or even if we're just looking at it from the perspective of, and whether this goes right now, what we're talking about goes into the pot or not, we can decide that later. Whether we watch it and say, here's why, don't go watch this movie. Even though it's kind of an unspoken, it's a slasher movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they're bad movies. There's nothing redeemable about a Halloween movie.
No.
So you're watching it just to hit that part of you that enjoys this gruesome stuff. And is that healthy?
I don't think if your favorite movies are slashers and that's all you watch, that's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't like slashers to begin with. I just don't care for the gore is scary aesthetic of horror. But I don't know. Horror movies are tough because it's like you go to be scared, and then the subject matter is almost always abomination, evil, something demonic, or just the worst of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I get where you're coming from. Is like, is it even worth watching this stuff?
At what point are you encouraging and glorifying in the flesh at that point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I say this again, I'm so confused right now because I started talking like I was talking to an audience, and then it just kind of turned into I was just talking to the two of you. So whether it stays in or not, Colin, you can watch it in post and just tell me what you think and make a call from there. But that being said, we did yesterday, kind of going into what we've been watching, we watched Hocus Pocus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I became heavily convicted yesterday that, like, what is the good in any of this?
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue, you know, I can watch a movie like Doctor Strange 2, which heavily involves witches, and say, okay, they're not, they are, but they're not, we're not just I can't think of the word I'm trying to use, not glorifying it, but you know what I mean?
There's a broader universe in that story is that what you're trying to say?
Are we glorifying in the evil, or are we not? You know, is that the main focus? Is that the takeaway? Because Hocus Pocus 2, 100% is. All the kids are doing spells. The kitches and the witches are doing spells. Everybody's doing spells. Yeah. And it's all like, okay, I need his head and I need her left toe kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's incantations and over people. And I'm like, and then you go on Facebook and Christians that I know and love are all like, Hocus Pocus 2 is coming out tonight. We're like, oh my goodness, like it smacked me across the face. And I love movies, and this hurts to say, but I'm like, ooh, I don't think there's nothing healthy in here for us. Mm-hmm. There really isn't. And then where's the line? Because there has to be a line and there has to be balance. I don't think you can say, I mean, you can if you want to, like, it's all bad or it's all good. You can pick and choose and be like, no, this one is encouraging and glorifying something that I completely disagree with. Mm-hmm. This one has some of those elements in it, but I don't think it's doing that. So I'm okay. And depends on where you're at in your walk and depends on where you're at in your faith. If you can watch something or do something and you know it's not impacting you negatively, I think that's okay. And that there's healthy revelation in that. But at the same time, it's like a Halloween Ends or it's like a Hocus Pocus 2. It's just like, ooh, these are more of the extremes. Mm. They're not the gray area ones. These are the extremes.
And I think that comes down to everyone's walk, like you said, where you're at in your faith and stuff and what you're being convicted of. If you don't feel convicted that this is wrong for you to watch, when it's something like that, I don't know that, like, if I feel convicted and I don't want to watch it, that's one thing. I can't tell you, hey, don't watch that. Because if you're not feeling convicted, I can be like, hey, I would probably advise you. Because I've had people advise me of movies. Hey, you probably shouldn't watch that. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, thank you. I don't.
It's like Blonde. The Marilyn Monroe falls in that same category to me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
On horror movies or what?
Kind of just where we were just at with the.
Just with that. I agree with if you feel in where you're at that it's not going to negatively impact you, then fine. And some of them, that's why it's good to look at content advisories going into these.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Especially horror
always.
Movies. Horrors and comedies are good ones for sure. Because
find some Christian reviews.
Pack a lot of crap into them.
Yep.
So then you at least know what you're looking at seeing, ahead of time before you have to engage with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it's probably a detriment. I'm not saying using it as an excuse, but like I seen so much of, hey, don't watch this because of email chains that will go around saying that this stuff is bad. And I didn't get to watch stuff growing up because of that. I'm overly cautious to not go that route. Mm-hmm. And I probably need to reflect a little more on that and be like, okay, well, okay, if I say something's wrong and I'm not going to let my kids watch it or I'm not going to watch it because of this, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue comes in with me listening to 50 other people and then just jumping on board with something.
Yeah.
and saying like, "Oh, this is wrong."
Well, we should do our due diligence on everything, not even this topic. So that being said, yes, I watched Hocus Pocus 2. Looking at it from a film perspective, it's not very good. It's not very funny, which is what it's supposed to be. Weirdly enough, all of the actresses that were in the original and now in this one, 93, 20 years later, they all pretty much look the same, which is real crazy.
Witches donate.
I didn't say it did, but I think we have to be very careful. We, as in the people on this podcast, but we as Christians especially, like, at what point are we endorsing something that we shouldn't be endorsing? So if we're going to watch movies like this, I watched Hocus Pocus 2. I would strongly discourage everyone from watching it. If we watch Halloween Ends, which again, I'm okay with watching if that's what we feel like we want to do, I want to make sure that we're not endorsing anything that goes against our beliefs and our convictions.
That's,
because that's very important.
I agree.
So whether, we think we should all watch it or just one of us should watch it, I don't care. Whatever you guys want to do. We want to make a night of it and I'll go. I'm cool with that too. But
let me think about it.
We'll let you know. TBD. It's probably going to go on HBO Max really quick too. So there's that as well. Again, that's another point. You go see it in theaters. You are supporting it. Are you okay with giving your money in some extent to this movie? It's going to gross over $1 billion, which is why they go and make another one, because they can make it for $25 million and then they gross over $1 billion every time. Yeah. We're way off into the weeds at this point, but that's just something that was on my heart. So what else you been watching?
Honestly, I haven't been watching a whole lot of anything. I've had a hard time getting into movies lately at all.
You're on a movie podcast.
I know.
You're on a movie podcast.
I just the last couple weeks and stuff, Mariah's like, "Oh, you want to watch something? You want to turn something on?" I'm just like, no, I really don't want to sit and watch anything right now. Like, I feel like, not like convicted, I feel like no desire to watch any movies. Like, I have other stuff I'd rather be doing.
Like?
And I know that,
Like? Woodworking.
No. Woodworking, yeah. No, I've been listening to a lot of sermons and stuff online and just studying some scriptures and honestly, just studying some scriptures and stuff out. Looking at stuff. Fun. And I know there's a past, I love movies, so it's going to come back around to where I'll watch movies again. But yeah, she's like, "You want to watch this?" I'm like, "No, not really."
I watched 2010 Predators. So that had Adrian Brody.
Okay.
They had Danny Trejo's in there. Topher Grace. One Hispanic woman from New Mutants. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Bunch of people.
Daisy Ridley.
No. I enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
I enjoy that movie a lot. Yeah.
We are still watching Justified, which it's okay.
No.
I'm still having a hard time getting into it. It's just like one of those, I don't know. Timothy Olyphant is a okay actor.
Small doses.
Yeah.
Small doses.
Yeah. I do really like Walter Goggins on there, though. Like, he is the best part of that.
Walter Goggins was in the Predators movie.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Nice. Wow, look at that.
He plays the same character in everything. Is he a convict?
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays the same character in everything. Ant-Man and the Wasp, he's a convict.
Yeah.
What you been watching? What is this you pulled up?
This is one I watched. I was just flipping through HBO Max last night after watching Beckman. It just made me want to watch something else. So,
is this new?
This one, it came out 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Is that Will from Stranger Things?
It was not.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know. That's a cast. So it's called The Empty Man. And the only reason I watched it is it looked somewhat interesting and it said it was getting pulled off HBO Max today. It's like, I'll give it a shot.
That's how they get you.
It's my last chance.
Yeah, I was like, why not? Nothing else really looked that interesting. And it's a weird one. It's a horror, but it's like framed in the sense of a murder mystery, almost like a cop detective type thing.
Okay.
He's trying to figure out why these kids are either committing suicide, going missing, one way or the other. And it all revolves around this kind of like Kid's Tale, The Empty Man, similar to a Slender Man kind of thing, is what it felt like it was going to be. The stuff around it was really, really good. But anything involving specifically like the evil that was the Empty Man was pretty bad. Because like it starts out, there's a whole, almost like a short film at the start that's set in a completely different area. think 30 years prior. Hikers go up a mountain. They find some, looks like the skeleton of a demon. It's like a bunch of arms, kind of like the Doctor Strange when he had all of the different arms. Kind of like a skeleton version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then he just gets possessed and he's like catatonic. Perfectly healthy, but just has no response to anything. So he's kind of like super paralyzed. But then he's some sort of conduit for some higher power thing.
Always.
Then there's a cult, and they're trying to get these kids in, and they're kind of, if they don't die from this empty man trial thing, then they get further into the program. So all of that stuff was kind of interesting. And it's well shot. The acting was good. Dialogue was solid. But it's just the end was weird. Like, it just flips on its head, and then it's over.
Your horror thriller genre really struggle with sticking the landing.
The landings
and
are hard.
Third act stuff. That's really hard for a lot of movies. So when a horror movie or a thriller does it well, it's like commendable because most don't. Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole thing was that the guy from the beginning of the movie comes back in later in just a hospital, but he's like the conduit for the demon. But then they say the cult made the guy who you've been following the whole movie as the detective. They made him as another vessel for the demon conduit thing, and then it just ends as him being taken over by it.
Oh, geez.
And then it just cuts out.
So it was like a Fallen kind of thing.
It just lost me on the end, but everything up to it was solid.
Huh. I don't think I've been watching anything else. I wanted to get to Andor. I couldn't get to it.
We did watch the first episode of Andor.
Oh, did you?
It was slow. It was okay. I was tired, so I didn't want to watch anymore until I was able to stay awake. But yeah.
So what are we looking at now?
An hour 6.
Oh,
see, I really filled it out.
All right, we good?
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you like what you hear, head over to YouTube. Please hit like and subscribe. Share us with your friends. You can head over to Instagram at Popcorn and Coffee and follow Jesse Keane. He runs that page. I'm on Instagram at JZOGood, and Colin is on Instagram at KBG or KB.
Colin BG.
Colin BG. And also check us out we're still on Apple Podcasts, right?
Correct.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify.
Yep.
Subscribe to us there and let us know what you think.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye.